Hi, I'm Hazel. It is almost Saturday, which means it's time for a brand new vlog, and the first thing to talk about has to be Pokemon Go. Oh my goodness. So, I went from like 3 days ago. I had no idea what Pokemon Go was. I didn't know it was a thing. I hadn't really heard of it. I would probably confuse it with Pokemon Snap, which I also don't know what that is. But 3 days ago, I had no idea. And then 2 days ago, I saw a bunch of tweets about it, and I was like, man, that's kind of neat. Or something's up. I mean, everybody's clearly excited. And then I Googled it, and I was like, well, that's too good to be true. I can't actually just download a free app and then go outside and start catching Pokemon, can I? I mean, that's just crazy. And then it turns out it is true, and that is what it is. And so yeah, I went from not knowing anything about Pokemon Go a couple days ago to full-blown addiction very quickly, which is remarkable considering how unstable the servers have been. Supposedly there's like one mega server for pretty much everybody, so having a release of this magnitude has made that server essentially cry. So it's been really unstable. It's down right now, and I know that because I have it running on my desk. But yeah, Pokemon Go is super, super cool. So yesterday, not counting my morning run because I didn't take my phone with me on my morning run, but not counting my morning run, after I finished my work for the day, I took my dog and went hunting for Pokemon and stuff, and I walked an extra 5 kilometers that I never would have done so. And I got a whole bunch of stuff, and I got leveled up to 5, so this morning I was able to go out, and I took a gym, and I left my buddy there, and he's probably gonna get crushed because my buddy's not very good. But it's just so exciting. I'm so excited about it, and I just want to play all the time, and I can't because I have things to do, and the servers are down. And the other thing about Pokemon Go is that it chews through your battery real quick. I think they mentioned Niantic, who's the company who's mostly managing this. It's their game. Have mentioned that they're looking for a battery fix, or working on a battery fix or something to stop this app from eating everybody's battery. But I don't know how they're going to do that, because the way it works is when you're using this app, if you want to do anything, including counting steps for, or counting distance to hatch your Pokemon eggs, you want to find Pokemon, you want to go get a Pokestop, you want to go get a gym, but mostly the distance thing, you need to have not only the app running, but you need to have it open. You can't put your phone to sleep, you need to have the app open. And the closest thing you can have to battery saving is a battery saving mode, where if you turn your phone upside down, like you put it in your pocket, then it'll turn the screen off. But your app is still running, it's still using GPS, and it's still constantly fetching data in real time. So it's no wonder it kills the battery. I don't know what they're going to do about that, but in any case, Pokemon Go is amazing. Everybody should try it. If you've ever played Pokemon, or if you like Pokemon, or if you just want to see what the fuss is all about, it's all free. I haven't had to pay any money yet, and assuming that you can get on, it's kind of fun. My tips for things that weren't immediately apparent, because the one thing that it doesn't do is it doesn't tell you a whole lot about what to actually do. And because of that, there's a lot of misinformation floating around the community right now as to how stuff works. And some of it's right, and some of it's just blatantly not right. So things that I've noticed that are helpful are Pokestops, which are little landmarks. They're pretty frequent in moderately populated areas. So if you go in range of one, then you can spin the little circle and it'll give you some Pokeballs and stuff. You don't have to be as close as you think you do to access that. I was trying to get right up in so that my player circle was touching the blue thingy thing, and you don't have to do that. Once you get relatively close, you can just tap on it, and it's either going to tell you that it's too far away or it's not. And I was able to access them from a lot farther away than just my player circle, so you don't have to go into somebody's yard as much as you'd think you would have to go into somebody's yard is one tip. The other thing was the battery thing. And then the other thing that I would mention to anybody that's new and getting into this is Pokemon tracking. You'll notice in the bottom right hand side there's a little bar that you can see all the nearby Pokemon. That list is sorted in order of nearest to farthest, so in the very top left of that list is going to be the closest to you. Bottom right of that list I wouldn't even really bother hunting for unless it's a Mewtwo, because it's probably going to be very far and kind of hard to find. And then the number of footsteps is how close that is, and you can use that number of footsteps to kind of triangulate it. So if you're walking in direction, and the 3 goes to a 2 on that Pokemon, then you know you're heading the right way approximately. So it's a lot like doing archaeology in WoW, except in real life. And with your phone. So I've been having a blast. My dog has been really happy about it because, he's been getting a crazy amount of exercise. I mean, I run with the dog every day, but now I run with the dog every day, and then we go for a poke walk, and then we go on an extended outage. Then we go get the mail and come back half an hour later because we were hunting for a Dratini. So it's been great. Yeah, can fully get behind Pokemon Go. I'm so excited about it. This vlog would probably be very late if the servers were not down right now, to be honest with you. What else has been happening? This week in WoW, what I've been up to is pretty much just trying to finish my insane title grind. I've got it down so that the last thing I have to do is Ravenholdt rep, and I am halfway through Revered, so I only need to get the second half of my lockboxes done. And there's a really, really good lockbox grinding spot on the Isle of Keldanas, which is that Burning Crusade daily hub, the Sunwell Island. All along the Greengill coast, there's these Murloc camps, and not only do they drop strongboxes, or you can pickpocket strongboxes. If you fan and knives them and they all die, they respawn like 25 seconds later with new loot. So basically you can go back and forth between two camps of these Murlocs, which are pretty close by, and then you can just pickpocket them and then AoE them down and then go back and forth and back and forth. So I've been farming lockboxes pretty quickly. I probably have another 4 or 5 hours left of my grind. I'm going to try and get that done this weekend while the Darkmoon Fair buff is still up. And then I'll be Hazel the Insane, and I'll be ready for being a Shadow Priest at Legion. And once I have my Insane title, I'm pretty much committed to raiding as a Shadow Priest. I don't think I could then get my Insane title and then be like, okay, well, Warlocks are better. I put too much time into this already, but I'm kind of excited that that'll be finally done. What else? The Australian Qualifier Cup. We've been seeing really cool WoW streams of the Road to BlizzCon WoW Arena tournament qualifier cups, and the Australian one is this weekend. I think it starts today, and that should be really good watching. I know they flew Sipatiz all the way out to Australia after having just flown him out to Europe, so that poor guy's been on a plane forever. But those are always good watching, and I can't wait to see that. The pre-patch has gone on the background downloader, which is confusing. There's a lot of conflicting evidence as to when exactly we're going to get this pre-patch. The only thing we can say for sure is it's going to be soon. I would say almost guaranteedly within 3 weeks, but that's like a long estimate. But we don't really know because on one hand, they have not announced the end of the PvP season, and usually they do that with 2 full weeks of notice. They have not announced that yet. And there has not been, as far as I know, there has not been a release candidate build on the PTR. And those are usually 2 things that you kind of look out for as early determiners of when the patch is going to drop. But things that have happened are we have had patch info go on the background downloader. And we have also had, they announced just today, it was actually kind of trollish, it was really funny. They announced today, they did kind of a pre-patch announcement. It wasn't I feel like somebody just made a boo-boo when writing this thing because it had the lines, here's what to expect with the pre-patch and when to expect it. And nowhere in that post was a date. So I'm thinking that was supposed to be the 2-week notice and they just like completely forgot to put the date in. Or maybe not, like nobody knows what's going on right now. So hopefully they either amend that post with a date or amend it to tell us that we're not going to get a date and that was just very poor wording. And we should get a date soon. This thing's gonna come out soon-ish. Anyways, if you have anything you're trying to finish up before the pre-patch drops, things like Brawlers Guild, Challenge Mode, any grinding that you want to do before the talent changes come in, that's kind of why I'm doing the Ravenholdt thing now, because Burst of Speed, I believe, is being removed, as are Angelic Feathers, so a lot of grinding like that is better done before the patch, because you might find yourself a little bit slower once the patch drops. That's something to be noted. But yeah, anything that you're trying to finish up, do it now. Do it now before the patch drops, because nobody knows. Nobody knows when that's going to be. As far as videos that I've been doing, I've been spending my whole week making pet guides. There is an astounding amount of pet content in the Legion beta, which is a really good thing. I think I talked about this last week, but there's the World Quest pet system is basically every day there's 3 different pet things to go do, but the pool of those things, there's over 30 different things that it can choose from, so there's lots and lots of things to make guides of. I am doing my best to get those done as quickly as possible, and hopefully, fingers crossed, I can have them all available by the time Legion launches, or at least by the time the Legion beta goes down, because after that I can't really make any more. But hopefully I have them all done by the time Legion launches, so that once people start reaching 110, those guides are already ready to go. And I don't know, we're good on that front. So that's what I've been doing. After I'm done the pet guides, I'm going to see if I can do an archaeology thing. There appears to be a slight update to the way you search for archaeology fragments, and I want to really get in, go and look at that, because I haven't had a lot of time to dig through that. I want to really get into that and then figure out what's up with that and then make a video about it. So archaeology in Legion is next on my list of non-pet videos, but as long as I can be making pet videos, I'm probably going to be doing those first. And yeah, that's it. I'm so excited about everything. All I want to do is play Pokemon Go, but I tend to dive headfirst into things once I get excited about them. I did it with Overwatch. I think I'm level 90 now. I haven't been playing a whole lot of Overwatch this last week just because I've noticed that if I play Overwatch, within the hour before I try and go to bed, I just can't sleep. There's too much too much energy and adrenaline and excitement that goes into just any Overwatch game for me that it actually stops me from sleeping. So I've been trying to spend that last hour before bed just doing something a little bit more calmed down. Although last night, I will admit that in that last hour before bed, it was like 1:30 in the morning, and I was taking my dog out before we went to bed, and then it was like, oh man, there's a pincer over there, and then it was like, oh, but there's a Zubat. I don't have a Zubat yet, and I spent a little bit of time wandering around outside at 1:30 in the morning. I had my dog with me, and I live in a very safe place of the world, so I wasn't terribly concerned about it, but that wasn't necessarily my smartest decision, but it's so quiet out there. There's nobody to judge me flicking Pokeballs just on the side of the road with my dog just sitting and looking at me like, what are you doing now? But yeah. Hi. My cat has a chair. We've always had the chair. It used to just sit in our living room and it just kind of had coats on it, but we moved it in here when the internet went out so that my husband could sit behind me and play Wind Waker on the TV, which is also why the TV's in here. And the cat has now claimed that chair because she always likes sitting on my chair, and I can't also sit in the chair when the cat's in the chair, so I've been like just picking her up and moving her to that chair, so now she's accepted that that's her chair, and that's kind of what she's up to. Questions from last week. BJ asked, let's get you some lasagna. I get so worried seeing you so thin. Are you feeling okay? I'm fine. I've always been this weight. I'm perfectly healthy. I appreciate your concern, but I'm fine. I eat plenty, believe me. Especially now that I've been like doing all this walking, like I didn't realize how much of an appetite I would work up when I add an extra, 5 or 6K of mileage to my day. Corzo asks, wow, how in the world did you accumulate so much gold? The answer to that is garrisons. I made pretty good gold before garrisons became so good, just because I've always liked playing the auction house and making profession stuff and flipping things and farming transmog and selling it on the auction house and stuff like that. I made quite a bit of gold in 6.1 and 6.0. I made quite a bit of gold flipping epics. I would buy epics when they were below value on the auction house, and I would flip them for proper price, and I would make a couple thousand gold off each of them, or in some cases more than that. I think I made like 25k once off one flip because somebody just like forgot some zeros. But so yeah, my gold cap is mostly due to garrisons. I haven't been taking care of them lately, even though I know it's the last days for me to do so, just because I really want to get that Ravenholdt grind finished. And the only way for me to really finish a grind in WoW, like if I decide I want to level a character and I just want to get it finished, or I want to finish a rep grind, or I want to like find a piece of loot, or whatever, if I have one singular goal in WoW and I like actually want to get it done, I put down everything else that I'm doing in WoW. Like I stop doing mountain runs, I stop doing garrisons, I stop logging into my characters, and I just do that one thing until it's done, and then I kind of go back to my routine. So yeah, that's that. Mage Wage has a couple questions. What are your favorite Overwatch customization items, skin, emote, play the game intro? So I play a lot of Mercy. My Mercy skin is the Sigrun skin, is the Valkyrie skin, but with the red hair. In my opinion, it is by far the best one. The Caduceus emote, where she like spins around her staff, I actually had to buy that emote with gold coins because I wasn't getting any emote drops for Mercy, and it's a pretty good emote. So I have the Sigrun skin, the Caduceus emote, and then I'm using the Heroes Never Die play the game intro, where she like sinks down and then like raises up like her res animation, but it makes her eyelashes look kind of funny on some different maps. So I want to get the battle one where she's like shooting things, but I feel like in order to get that, not only do I have to have it drop or buy it, but I also feel like I should get better at shooting people so that in more of my play of the games I actually pop some people, because that'll just go really good with that play of the game intro. So I really like the Battle Mercy play of the game intro. I don't have it. I'm using the Heroes Never Die one, but yeah, that's that. Have you tried the Demon Hunter DPS pack? I have tried it a little bit. I have not tried it for very long. You want to main it for PvE. People say it's like 5 buttons, including cooldowns, which doesn't seem fun. Those people didn't make it out of the starting area. You get more buttons as you go. Definitely more than 5, including cooldowns. Not that many more than 5, but the way they interact together makes it fairly engaging for me. But you're going to have to play it yourself to find out if you find it fun. I can't tell you if you're going to like it or not. I think you probably will. Just because it feels good to me, but I don't ever play melee, so I'm not really the best judge of that. I'm a better judge of ranged DPS classes because that's kind of my thing. About succulents, you have 2 new super cute adeniums that are sprouting. You're so excited. Can you show us your favorite one? Sorry for the long post. Okay, so no worries. I can. I was talking about this like months ago. Got some adenium obesum seeds, and then I sprouted them, and I had 6, and they're down to 2 now. I lost some. I knocked a couple of them over. My cat knocked one of them over, and then one of them just died. But I have 2 left, and I'll show you. Hang on, one sec. They live over here. under this lamp. I need to water them, and I think this one is ready for a new pot. But yeah, check him out. This is the good one. This one's kind of stumpy, but he's not dead yet. So oh, you're losing a little leaf there. You're not ready for more water. This one needs more water. But yeah, these are my Adenium obesums. These are my little ones. I have one big one that is on my balcony, which is finally starting to put out new leaves, which I'm very relieved about. I'm very relieved about that because it wasn't for a long time. I think it's because I put it in a big pot and it was spending some time putting down all the little roots. But yeah, these are great. Advice, I know you didn't ask for it, but advice I would have for anybody growing small adeniums is to just be really, really vigilant with the watering. Get used to how much they weigh when they're dry and how much they weigh when they're not dry, because you don't want to overwater them, obviously, because you don't want to rot them, because that's a real concern. But these ones in particular, they're kind of more tropical than a lot of succulents, and they don't like drying out, especially when they're young. If they dry all the way out, they get real mad. That's how I lost at least one of mine. So make sure that once they get dry, that you water them again, and then it's a lot easier to manage when they're not over potted. So when I pot this one up, I'm probably just going to go into a very slightly smaller container, or larger container, because when you put them into a container that's way too big for them, it becomes a lot harder to keep it properly watered. I did that with my big one. Like, I put it into a huge container because it was like pretty big. But the problem is the bottom stays wet and the top dries out. And when the top dries out, like, the little tiny filament roots, like, fall off. It's not good. But you don't want to rot the very bottom ones either. So it's a lot harder. You want to keep it in the smallest container that it's comfortable in. And then you want to just be really, really careful about watering. And then, of course, light. These guys have a little lamp that I just bought off Amazon, and they love it. It's been doing really good. But yeah, everybody should grow plants. Plants are great. And Jedi Mind Hacks asks, are you as kind as you seem, or nah? So that's kind of a funny question. I try and be a nice person. I do my best. I will say that I am not always as sweet as I might seem just from videos, just because it's very easy to be really positive for like 20 minutes. It's a lot harder to be really positive 24/7. So things that don't necessarily come across in videos is I can be quite cynical. I have a very dark sense of humor, which I try and keep to just like my friends and not necessarily on like more public forums. But for the most part, I'm pretty nice. I don't know. That's a weird one. So yeah, that has been my week. So if any of you have any questions you would like answered on a vlog, just leave them as a comment on the most recent vlog. If any of you have Pokemon Go stories, I want to hear all of them. I've been like looking through the hashtag Pokemon Go hashtag on Twitter, just like reading everybody's stories and stuff. But I want to hear if you met people, like when we were out like looking for Pokemon, we saw a whole bunch of other people doing the same thing, and a couple of people asked us about it. And I just want to hear all your Pokemon Go stories. So hit me up with those. Any questions, just put them in the comments. And I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye.